Hey, is this working? Hopefully so. Hey everybody. Uh, I think now it's working. Hi everyone. My name is Keith Leveson. I run a local lifestyle brand called My Great Orlando. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. This video, hopefully, once I finish, will be uploaded to YouTube. And once I upload it to YouTube, I will connect it somehow to my previous video, which was the 7 most romantic restaurants in the Orlando area. So once I figure out how to do that in the world of YouTube, we'll go ahead and we'll post that. You're also going to see that I published a poll, and the poll is basically asking what we're talking about today. Do you believe that you need to hire, or we need to hire a home inspector before we buy a house? We're going to leave that up all throughout today's event. Feel free to answer it however you see fit. Is it important? Isn't it? If you have some questions, feel free to put them in the chat box or the comments. If I don't get to them right away, I will go back and answer them later on. Um, I run a lifestyle brand, but I'm also a realtor. So this is kind of a subject that's very dear to me. When we talk about, is it important to hire a home inspector? A lot of things that you hear people say, right, is I don't see the value of it. I can take a look at the house myself. And that might make sense if you're somebody who's very technical. Hey, Jerry, good to see you, man. Thank you for joining our Facebook Live. Jerry runs a awesome freebie ice cream. If you haven't tried them, make sure you look them up. We stock them every Thursday. And it's the best ice cream ever. But getting back to home inspections, a lot of people think that home inspections are something that they can do on their own. And let's say you have a background in construction or plumbing or some sort of trade. You might feel that paying for a home inspector is a waste of money and time. Just to give you an idea, I worked as an electrician for a few years. And well, it was low voltage, not high voltage, but I worked on construction sites as an electrician. And I had learned a lot about what to look for in a house. So to give you an idea, when I go into a home, some of the things that I look at immediately, right, is I'm going to bring a flashlight, and I'm going to look for any signs of electrical burns around any outlets, any light sockets, anything like that. That's the very first thing I'm going to do. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to walk around the house and I'm going to look for any signs of water damage. It might be rain, it might be from plumbing, but I'm going to look through everything. And lastly, the last thing that I tend to do is I'm going to open every cabinet, every closet door, everything, and I'm going to see if I see insects or any signs of infestation, rodents, whatever it may be. Now, that's what I do on a regular basis when looking at homes, okay? But I'm not a home inspector. So is it important to hire a home inspector? My answer, 100% yes. And here's the reason why. So my wife and I, a few years ago, we decided we wanted to buy a house. So we started looking. We found a beautiful property in Winter Park, and we went ahead. We made an offer on the house, but our realtor at that time, because I wasn't working as a real estate agent. This was, I think, man, 6, 7 years ago. But anyway, at that time I wasn't working as a realtor. Our realtor at that point encouraged us to make sure we get a home inspection. So I was kind of on the fence because it was going to cost me about $500. I wasn't really sure if it was going to be worth the value. But I went ahead and I put the money down, got a home inspector. The home inspector looked through the house, did his thing, and he came back after I did my thing. I did everything I told you. I looked for electrical damage, infestation, all that stuff. But I still hired a home inspector. He came back and he found that that house was so badly eaten up by termites that it was unfit to be lived in. He said, in fact, it was dangerous. The house was so badly ruined by termites that it was dangerous for people to live in, and the house should be condemned. We contacted the seller and we said, hey, what's up? You know, this house, our home inspector is coming back saying this house is infested with termites, that it's even dangerous to live in. And the seller's response, yeah, I know. I just kind of hoped that nobody would have inspected it. Now, could you have imagined if we would have purchased that home for our family? It was dangerous to live in. And how did we end up, in a sense, getting saved from making that mistake? It was by hiring a home inspector. Now, like I said, I have somewhat of a background in construction, but let's say you have an even bigger background than me, right? You could build a house on your own from the floor up. Do you need a home inspector? Yes. Why? Because when you're home shopping, when you're going through this whole process, are you going to be the one who climbs up in the attic? No. Are you going to be the one who goes into the crawl space and looks through the house? No. You're not going to do it. You're not going to want to deal with the stress. You're not going to want to deal with all the pain of having to climb into an attic in 100-degree weather here in Florida and look through a house and inspect it. So you shell out the $500 to protect your investment. Because unfortunately, there is this term called buyer beware, which means that in some of these cases, you buy this home, it's in a bad situation, infested with animals or termites or bugs, or has an electrical problem or has a plumbing problem. Maybe they use pipes that are old and burst, that are outdated. You need somebody to inspect these things and protect your investment, because it's buyer beware. What's going to happen if you go ahead and you make that purchase and you didn't have an inspector? You're stuck. And you might be stuck with a property that you can't do anything with. Like if we would have bought that house in Winter Park, we would have been stuck with a house that we couldn't even live in. So we would have basically owned land at that point. And owning land in Winter Park isn't necessarily a bad thing if you have the finances to build a new house on the property. At that point in time, we didn't. So, you know, you really have to know your financial situation. But whether you are doing well financially, whether things are tight, if you're looking at buying property, buying a house, hire a home inspector. I told my father-in-law to do the same thing. My father-in-law, a couple of years back, he thought, oh, you know, I know a lot about AC, different things. And he does. He's a very knowledgeable man. But we convinced him. We said, you need to get a home inspector. And sure enough, the home inspector came back and found issue after issue after issue with the house. And yes, it cost my father-in-law $500, but would you rather pay $500 or $200,000? That's the type of thing you have to look at. You're making an investment. Whether you're buying property to live in, or you're buying it as an income producing property, meaning you're going to rent it out. It doesn't matter. You need to get it inspected either way. And the reason is you're protecting your investment. Yes, a straight home buyer is still investing. You're investing in the community that you're moving into. You're investing in the community that you want to live in. So you need to protect that investment. Same with an income producing property. It's an investment. You need to protect it. And how do you find great home inspectors? Because that was my issue before I became a realtor. What I was struggling, if I went online, you can find home inspectors, a ton, just like you can find realtors a ton on the internet. You type in realtor and you're going to get 5,000 names. You type in home inspector, you're going to get 5,000 names. So how do you find a good home inspector? You have to find a good realtor, quite honestly. And I know it sounds like a trap because I just said you can type in realtor and get 5,000 results. We're going to talk about that in a second. But honestly, if you want a good home inspector, you've got to have a good realtor. Why? Because good realtors build relationships with good home inspectors. They know who to go to. They know who to trust. They've worked with these individuals over and over and over again. These individuals have proven themselves on more than one occasion, and they know who the community looks to. They know who other realtors look to. They know these individuals. And that's why you have to have a good realtor. So then the question comes in, okay, you just told me if I type in home inspector, I'm going to get 5,000 options. That's overwhelming. If I type in realtor, I'm going to get 5,000 names. It's overwhelming. It's too much. It produces anxiety. All right. So how do you locate a good realtor? We can do a Facebook Live on this at another time, but I'm going to boil it down, all right, to a real simple fact. Because what we're talking about right now is home buyers, right? Home buyers or those looking to buy investment properties. So how do you find a good realtor? Just real simple, man. You have to look, or woman, I don't know who, or whatever, I don't know who's watching, but real simple, right? What you're going to do is you're going to look for somebody who has strong ties to the community. Now, the reason that's important, all right, you want somebody with strong ties to a community. The reason it's important is you can find realtors all over, okay? Some work with small companies, some work with big companies, but let's be honest. And I've had this conversation with quite a few people. When you look back and you purchased your home, let's say you own a home, if you look back when you bought your home, do you remember the home, or I'm sorry, do you remember the company that the realtor worked for? Most people don't. Did that realtor work for a big name company or was it a small company? Most people cannot remember the name of the company that their realtor worked for. But you know what they always remember? The name of the realtor they worked with. So, realtors, don't worry about the big company, little company thing. look at the realtor. How much are they connected with the community? Why? Because good home inspectors generally are connected to the community. Our work as realtors, home inspectors, is servicing a community. And that's what you need to look for, is individuals who have ties, who are investing in these communities, trying to lift them up. Let's be honest, with COVID, a lot of people are struggling financially. There's a lot of issues going on all over the country. But the reality is, people that are investing in good businesses, in good workers, these are things that are never, ever going to go out of style, out of date. They're never going to expire. And that's the point. As good realtors develop these relationships in the community, like I said, they start talking with people. They say, hey, you bought a home. Doesn't matter if it was with me. You bought a home. Were you happy with your home inspector? Who was it? When we hear these names over and over and over again, and then we start to use them and we start to do research and we're looking at all these variables, we start to know who's a trusted name. And the only way you're going to know who's a trusted name is if you have somebody in your corner working for you that you trust. So, if you have any questions, shoot them in the comments. Like I said, I left the poll up. I'd love to hear if you believe you need a home inspector or not. If you do have any questions and they're in the comments, I am going to try and go back and answer those. We'd be happy to hear from you. If you're looking for a realtor, I'd love to work with you. If you have a good realtor, awesome. Work with them. Find a good home inspector before you buy. Especially now, and I was wrapping it up, but if you can't tell, I can go on for days. Real quick, especially now, there's low inventory on the market. So what that means is there's not a lot of houses to choose from, right? We don't have thousands upon thousands of homes. There's a small number of homes, a small number of investment properties that are currently available on the market. And what you want to do is you want to have a home inspector look at that investment. Okay? So it's important to keep an eye on that, because you want to make sure that you're getting that jewel, out of that small number. So make sure you do your diligence. Make sure you work hard and hire people that are going to work hard for you. If you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them. I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you for joining our Facebook Live event. We're going to try and do one again in 2 weeks, but that's going to be more fun-based, focused on the community. We'll probably highlight some events and businesses. So we hope you have a great night. Thank you for joining us, and happy home buying. Hope you guys enjoy your evening.